Hey everybody, welcome to Breakfast All Day. It's an intimate breakfast today. Just Christy and Alonso here.
Hi.
Talking about Hustlers, the new stripper, caper, con artist movie starring Jennifer Lopez and Constance Wu. You want to describe what it's about?
I will. This is based on a true story. It's specifically based on a New York Magazine article about a group of strippers in New York who...
At
Scores, which is like a Costco of strip clubs. It's cavernous and legendary. And
a favorite of the Howard Stern show. That's the only reason I know it.
You're not frequented Scores during your visits to New York, I take it?
Sadly, no. I try and fit in a Broadway show and a night at Scores, and it doesn't always happen.
Yeah, so you only have so much time in the big city. So, so a bunch of strippers kind of got, I don't know if you want to call it revenge. They got what they felt was coming to them by manipulating and drugging and fleecing all these Wall Street assholes for their money. Things are great at the start of the film. It's like 2007 in New York, and everyone's riding high on Wall Street, and all of these financial jerks have money to throw around and throw up people's asses, and literally. Money gets thrown at people's backsides.
They make it rain a lot.
They do. And
hi, street cleaning truck.
It's Thursday morning in West Hollywood. So so then the crash happens, right? Then the recession comes, and they have to find creative ways to survive. And so Jennifer Lopez, who is as incredible as you have heard, the hype is totally justified, and it's this fascinating performance because you never forget that you're watching Jennifer Lopez. You never lose sight of that. She's using all that charisma and all that swagger and all that. Like
it's a star turn.
It is. No, it is. But also, all that incandescent audience working. She knows how to work it, but she also, you forget, can act.
Yeah.
Right. And so long before she was J-Lo, she could really act in films like Selena, like Out of Sight. And so she gets to finally have a juicy role that allows her to tap back into that ability once more. I'm not sure that the rom-com she did, like Made in Manhattan or The Wedding Planner, were the best use of Jennifer Lopez.
Or enough.
Oh, yeah. But didn't she get to use her Krav Maga
in
that?
She did get to use Krav Maga.
So she comes up with the whole scheme to, just put a little pinch, a little like a touch.
Dollop of ketamine and MDMA.
Right. And she and Constance Wu, who is the young stripper that she takes under her wing, literally.
True.
And teaches her the ways of the world.
Lily Reinhardt and Keke Palmer.
Yeah, they have the sort of this wonderfully diverse array of sirens to seek out their easy marks and drug them and drag them back to the strip club and max out their credit cards. It is so much fun to watch. It is such a blast, and it has tremendous energy. But gosh, is there a lot of good fellas in here?
Totally. There's a big steady cam shot through the strip club at the very beginning, or like Constance Wu's first day. We see her sort of walk from backstage, on stage, off stage, and it's just one.
It's impressive.
It is. Although nowadays I feel like that card gets played so often, and we know that through computer trickery you can fake those things. So it's not like it's not like Touch of Evil or something.
Where it really happened.
Wow, how did they do that?
What was it? Well, not Atonement. What was the one with the beach, 7-minute shot on the beach? One of those.
Saving Private Ryan?
No, anyway.
But
this you can fake.
Now you can fake it, so it's less of a big deal. But no,
it still looks nice.
And there's the whole thing of narration over crime to explain what's going on and where the money's going, and there's a lot of definite Scorsese things happening.
Right, the narration, the use of zooms at certain emotional moments, and also the soundtrack.
The needle drops.
So much. I mean, like Janet Jackson, Britney Spears, Bob Seger.
The Bob Seger one felt kind of random to me, but it was like, all right, whatever. My thing with this movie is I think it has moments where it's working really well, and I totally was seduced by its flash and its dazzle and the female empowerment story, and even the sort of economic underpinnings of this is sort of like a class warfare revenge story. But I don't feel like the script connects the dots as well as it could have. Like when, for example, you talk about literally taking her under her wing. So like you've got Constance Wu, who's the new dancer in this big club, and Jennifer Lopez rules the roost. We have not met either of these characters. We don't know anything about them, and they immediately become like best friends, and there's this whole mentoring thing going on, and you're like, could they there's not a moment of suspicion or getting to know you, or like you don't know if either of them has an agenda. It just happens. It's like, no, it's good. They're all great.
I viewed that they each saw an opportunity in the other, that they were both smart enough to recognize in the other. Like Constance Wu, whose name is Destiny, her stage name is Destiny, sees in Jennifer Lopez's Ramona, like, this is a superstar. This is a commanding presence, and I need to learn from her. At the same time, Ramona is savvy enough and has been around the block enough to know here's a pretty young, malleable thing, and she's Asian, which dudes dig, and so let's make the most of that. I think they see in each other. They're both savvy enough to see in each other pretty quickly that they need each other, and then the friendship comes.
I guess.
That's how I interpreted it.
It seemed hasty, but then there's other things like Mercedes Rule pops up as the sort of like den mother for the strippers. You're like, oh, cool. I haven't seen Mercedes Rule in a movie in ages, and what an interesting character. And obviously, if they've cast somebody who's that, she's an Oscar winner, like that's going to go somewhere. Nope, she's gone for most of the movie. Destiny's daughter disappears.
Destiny's child, if you will,
disappears for long stretches of the film.
Well, she stays with grandma.
There's this montage where Ramona encouraged me to go back to school, and it's like, great. To study what? And are we ever going to talk about this again? Nope. So there are a lot of pieces that feel like they don't quite go anywhere. And I have to say, I'm not a big fan of Lorene Scafaria. I thought Scafaria. You're right. Sorry. Lorene Scafaria. I really didn't like The Meddler, and I really didn't like Seeking a Friend for the End of the World. I like this one more than those two, but I think there's still it's not as great as it could have been, but there are enough things about it that I liked that I would totally still recommend it.
The thing that I think is its weakness is that it doesn't really in any way explore the troubling morality of what they're doing, right? They seem okay with it, and they seem okay with it based on the chosen profession of their targets, right?
Yeah.
These guys have it coming. They're rich assholes, and they are essentially criminals themselves. They are
They
con
destroyed
artists,
the economy and nobody went to
scam
jail.
artists, right? They have it coming.
I kind of admired that about the film.
Do
actually,
you?
that they didn't have this conscience about these guys because fuck these guys, they're terrible,
But is fuck these guys too simplistic? Should there be at least at the beginning of a conversation about
I
scruples?
Eventually, they do have a mark where clearly he's got other stuff going on. And
He's a human being.
He's a human being. We're supposed to feel bad about it, and so that's where things start to unravel. But no, I kind of sort of admired it taking this brash, anti, 0.1% tactic to it. Which weirdly, you haven't seen Joker yet, but it's kind of the same thing. Like there are stockbrokers who a terrible thing happens to, and the movie does not seem to be super broken up about it. And it also is a movie that is suffused with Scorsese references.
Oh God, yeah. These guys are not only are they stockbrokers and financial analysts, but they're also just awful human beings.
Yes.
And those are the guys that they enjoy sticking it to the most, and those are the guys who will pay the most.
Yes.
Actually.
Well, and also I think in a lot of cases it's not even their money, it's like their corporate card or whatever. So it's it's kind of a victimless crime. I don't know.
But the moment that you first see Jennifer Lopez is so electrifying.
Oh God, yes.
The whole scene, and I love that she comes on stage to Criminal by Fiona Apple, because in the first line of that is I've been a bad girl, which suggests the playful kind of knowing tease that she knows she's working it, she knows she's giving you just enough. Jennifer Lopez does not get even remotely naked in this movie at all, because she doesn't have to, because she's Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah, no, generally, well, you see the back a lot,
As well you should.
I did admire the sort of female gazeness of how the strip club is presented. I talked about this in my review on TheWrap, where a lot of times you get strip clubs sort of wedged into boy movies just as an excuse to have breasts in context, or you get something like what was a terrible Rock of Ages, where it's super PG-13 and everybody's wearing 3 layers of lingerie, this one felt like it was sexy, but I never felt like any of the women in the film were being exploited by the filmmaker, so you don't see that many actual breasts, but you do see a lot of provocative outfits and a lot of really sexy dancing, and I have to say, if you were expecting to get a lot of Cardi B out of this movie, she's gone early. Like,
but when she's there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But
and
like,
she used to be a stripper herself,
exactly,
so she brings authenticity to this.
No, totally. That's what's so cool. Like she, and same with Trace Lizette, who's on Transparent, and Lizzo. Like there's this like big cast of strippers at the beginning, and then after the 2008 crash, we'd never see most of them again. So the movie's kind of bait and switching the audience as far as how they're marketing the presence of those actresses, but and also, if you were here for Mercedes Rule, you're not going to get a ton of her.
Yeah, come for the Mercedes Rule. Stay for the J-Lo. No, but it's so much. I get to this play at Toronto or Telluride?
Toronto.
Okay, and there was so much hype out of there for this performance and talk of like an Academy Award nomination for Jennifer Lopez. I mean, it's what I wrote in my review. I just banged out like 1,000 words on this morning for Ebert, and like, you can never forget that you're watching Jennifer Lopez, the superstar, because she infuses so much of the performance with her own, dynamic stage presence, whatever. But now that she is older than she was when she was doing some of her early great work, like, there's a depth and there's a complexity, and even though she looks spectacular and is like impeccably preserved, whatever A-Rod's trainer is doing with her is working, but there is like a world weariness and like a depth of the years that is really interesting too. I mean, did she just turn 50 or she's about to turn 50?
That sounds right. Yeah.
She's 50 this year.
Would you say she has gravitas?
She does have gravitas, and in big ways and small ways.
Yeah, no, I think it is a great performance, and you're right. It does lend itself to the fact that we know it's J-Lo and she's bringing so much of that with her. But, you could say the same about like Cary Grant. There's there are movie stars who, whatever the part they're playing, they can't help bring themselves into it. And while she does that even on the crappy films, this is at least a one where it helps the character, and it gives you the entertainer side of this character, like how this woman can have a room full of stockbrokers like showering her with bills, but also gets the more intimate moments right too.
So we haven't talked about Constance Wu very much. She is our conduit to this, and she gets more of an arc than everybody else because she's like the wide-eyed neophyte at first, and then eventually is like this ruthless perpetrator.
She's good. I remember thinking in like Crazy Rich Asians that she kind of disappears because everybody else around her is so much more dynamic, and I felt like she gets some moments here that are hers, particularly when she's kind of telling her story to journalist Julia Stiles. And so I felt like she didn't get completely wiped off the screen by J-Lo. And in fact, I mean, this is, for whatever my other problems with Scafaria, she does cast well, and she does work with performers well. I love the fact that Constance Wu's grandmother is played by the woman who is like the evil crime boss on Daredevil, and here she's a totally sweet granny. Lily Reinhart and Keke Palmer have like nothing to play, but they still kind of register.
They have a nice chemistry with each other.
Yeah. So there are things about this movie that I liked, and I did give it a juicy red tomato, but it's there's still it's that kind of like, oh, I like this, be better.
It is really, really fun though. If you just want like the escape and like the thrill of like punchy high energy filmmaking,
totally, this
is there. So I'm saying 8.2.
Wow, I said 6.5.
Okay. Our number's a 7.2. It is at 89% on the tomato meter. So I would definitely go and check that out because it's the best movie of the week, as you'll see.
Well, in wide release.
As
anyway,
you'll see.
Yes. And I'm not an awards prognosticator, but like, if I heard that she were getting nominations for this, I wouldn't be like, what?
This is what the Golden Globes are for.
There you go.
This is exactly why the Golden Globes exist.
Would you push her as lead or supporting?
I was thinking about that this morning because theoretically it's Constance Wu's story and Jennifer Lopez is a supporting player, but she's such a dominant figure.
She does get the last line of the film.
Yeah, but just like in terms of like the tone that she sets and how much she drives the story, I guess she is a lead.
Yeah. But Viola Davis got supporting actress for Fences, so nothing means anything.
Oh gosh.
All right, thanks for watching, you guys. Please like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel here, and follow us on all the socials at BeFastAllDay, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And if you've not checked out our Patreon page at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay, please do. We are doing some trailer recaps this week, and next week we are reviewing a vintage 70s cult movie that our Patreon members picked for us to watch. So that'll be great. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.